Hello guys, welcome to Truth and Transparency. Gonna let those notifications click in. I started this live about 10 minutes early. I do have a video that I'm going to play as the intro to the press conference that is in about 40 minutes. Again, welcome everybody. Truth and Transparency. Moderators, love you guys. All the new subs, all the old subs, everybody that's here, we're here for the same reasons, whether you're new, old, anything like that. We're all here for the same thing, which is the truth, and that justice comes from the truth. So again, hello to everybody. And then all you special members out there, thank you guys so much for joining. Again, just like I said about the subscribers, we're all here for the same thing. Here we go. Check it out.
With over 100 programs at NCC, where do you start? To make it easier, we've grouped our programs into 10 different areas of study to help you get on a path to success right away. Think of an area of study like a family. Its programs, like members of that family, each share certain characteristics and similarities, but also have their own unique features that they bring to the world. How do areas of study work? Start by finding an area of study based on your interests, skills, and experience as you zero in on specific programs that appeal to you. Explore career options and transfer pathways within each of our majors. Then once you've decided on a major, you'll be assigned a success navigator who will ensure you choose the right classes in the right order to finish your degree on time without taking unnecessary credits. They'll also connect you with campus resources and help you stay on track. Get a taste of the major and it's not an exact fit? You can pivot to the right major within that same area of study seamlessly, saving you time and money. Check out our areas of study today and find a program that fits you.
Biggest reason why I love living on campus is just kind of getting fully immersed into the experience and then having an easy access to a lot of my resources.
I enjoy living on campus because you get to gain your independence. At home, you live under your parents' roofs. Here, you're in charge of your dishes, your trash, your bed. You get to gain the ability to become your own human. It's a home away from home.
So I'm not from this area, so I live kind of close to Philadelphia. Being able to kind of still be close to home, but still kind of far away is really convenient.
Coming to Northampton, you experience a lot of different things than you would at another college. I have friends from Haiti that I never thought I would ever meet.
Having that connection with not just people your age, but as well as a diverse group of people from different backgrounds and different ages is probably the biggest thing that NCC has to offer. The first thing I noticed when I came here was the fact that the cafeteria is in the residence hall. But when I visit a lot of other campuses, you usually have to walk to the cafeteria. So the fact that I can kind of just get out of bed and go eat was probably like the biggest thing. I was like, okay, this is kind of relaxing.
We have homework huddle that residents can go if you have a problem with homework or you need extra help instead of tutors. It's after school hours, so you can just go meet with other people and have fun. That's a big bond that you can't find in a lot of places, so that's very meaningful to me.
It's a great social experience to fully immerse yourself into college life. So having a new environment to study in and to kind of get used to and find out who you are, I think is the best way to kind of experience college life.
All right, guys. Yes, this is all about Brian in the intro of the video. Here we go. This is the first stop in Brian's college journey. Something that I came across that was interesting, wanted to share with you guys. It's about the different opportunities that Northampton offered, not just only to get your degree, but there was an opportunity for you to work. Take a look. First, these are some of the examples of meal plan, how much it costs to go to the community college. It is located in Pennsylvania. There are a couple different branches. Monroe was the campus branch that he attended. This is what the Bethlehem campus looked like. And then the next, you're going to see what Monroe campus looked like. And then this is Monroe. Again, this is a community college in Pennsylvania. Next, I want you guys to take a look at the public safety officer position. Here it is, the NCC Department of Public Safety. The faculty and staff of Northampton Community College share a single goal: to help students transform their lives through education. We invite you to consider applying for one of our currently available positions. For more information, public safety officer, part-time job, unarmed versus armed. As a public safety officer, you're going to maintain a high visible armed presence on campus, provides an exceptional level of professionalism and customer service, monitors crime and safety hazards, follows a reporting procedure for the same, acts as a first responder for campus emergencies, including critical incidences, fire, medical, bomb threats, and crisis intervention. Enforces campus vehicle parking regulations, assists with jump starts and vehicle lockouts. Patrol campus on foot, in a vehicle, and on a bicycle when necessary. Delivers presentations and training on a wide variety of topics to the campus community upon request. Maintains institutional compliance with all federal, state, and local laws, as well as college policies and procedures. Have knowledge of crisis plans, alarms, and computer center systems. All right, again, guys, welcome to Truth and Transparency. The press conference will begin in about 25 minutes, making this as loud and proud as possible for everybody to hear. The ride-along guy that was in one of the body cams does not meet the needs of Brian in terms of matching tattoos, things like that. So, no, have the police said anything about, is this person, is this person? I'm just simply saying Truth and Transparency does not believe that Brian is the ride-along guy and has never said that. Truth and Transparency has said, myself has said that could Brian have been a ride-along at a different point in time? Who knows? But the ride-along that was in the video, as far as this channel is concerned, and myself, they are not the same people. They are not the same person. Now, I think what I'm interested in most is to hear, when you hear the words targeted, and you heard it so early on, how and why are they determining this was a target attack? Where's the connection? Things like that, for the safety of the other students that were there, and not to be like worried that this experimental murders wouldn't happen again. So again, we're going to see what they want to reveal here at the press conference. Sage says, I want to know how tall and his weight. Thank you for becoming a new member there. Again, these are all things that we'll see what questions are being asked at the press conference. We'll see what information is given out at the press conference. Did Lana say experimental? Lana did say experimental. Because based on the information that I have and I've presented, this person, Brian, a psych major, getting his PhD, and having quote unquote research that has to do with asking ex-cons, as well as people that have never been caught for their crimes, things like that, questions. That is, you're doing research. And then if you are in connection with a quadruple homicide, were you the mastermind of it? Were you the person that planned it out? Or were you an actor? Did you act alone? All of these things, I believe, are going to hopefully be asked at the press conference. Let's see what information we're given. But yeah, when you're saying experimental, yeah, this person was talking about the psyche, talking about crimes in the months leading up to this horrific quadruple homicide. From everything that we've looked into, hopefully we find out what the background is. If there's any criminal history right now, we can't find any. We'll see. But what tied this name to an arrest? Because right now all he is he's being held in Pennsylvania to be extradited. There has not been said, this is the murderer. We have not been told that. All that we know right now is that we have Brian, who is in Pennsylvania, and he is being held to be extradited to Idaho. We also know that the FBI was on this right away based on the first press conference. And there was 46 agents, and they were talking about different states, and then they mentioned West Virginia. And I was like, wow, West Virginia, it's interesting. West Virginia is right next to Pennsylvania. So, but what would tie, what are his ties? How does, when you say the word targeted attack, that's my biggest thing. So I think this is great news for the families and the victims, that whether he is being arrested for whatever reason in connection with this in any type of capacity, that is heartwarming for the families to know that. So there is police over at the Steptoe apartments across over the way at Pullman, WSU, and again, allegedly being searched in connection with his apartment that he, occupied. Again, on the docket for Pennsylvania, it was showed earlier. He is just being held without, his bail was denied. There's nothing like that. He's being extradited, and there's been no mention of what crimes or anything like that was not on any of the dockets in PA. So, hello there, Vicky. Hello, all the members. But I think the big question is, oh, there you go, Chickadoo. Chickadoo says, how did Starr know this was going to happen? Because like every law enforcement agency, they have leaks. It's just, that's how it goes. Hi, bad girl. How are you? I never catch a live. Great channel. Thank you there. But what I think is interesting is how the Star Magazine cover then got leaked. So you're talking about a leak to a leak to a leak, but but I just had to listen to what the police officers say, because when you hear a police officer go and give a presser and say that everybody's safe, or this is an isolated incident, this is a targeted attack. Well, here we go. We have this guy named Brian, and what's the connection? How did Brian target this this house or these students? And did Brian operate alone? Who does Brian know out of the students? What is the definition of targeted? So again, if Brian hasn't committed any crimes, Brian's DNA is not in the system. So even if Brian would have had his DNA at the crime scene, how are they able to match that against there's nothing to run it against? It would come up as, yeah, you have this DNA, but you don't have it to run it against anything in the system because it's not having a match. So what was the connection? How, what led to all of this transpiring, piece by piece by piece? And I'm hopeful that we get those answers here, because I think to give the people that live in that area the sense of, security and safety, that this person didn't, if he was the mastermind and he had a bunch of people, something like that, because this guy was creating like his own little, ex-con fest, and here, let's interview you, and hey, what would you have done differently? How would you have gotten away with this? Like things like that. So that would cause me to definitely like, all right, well, who are the people that this guy has interviewed? Who has he talked to? how does it come back to 1122 king, everything like that. So we'll find out here. Again, anything that's just out right now is that he's just being held, and I'm hopeful that the press conference answers a lot of the whole targeted, what led them to believe that this was a targeted attack before they would have talked to or seen anybody's social media. The police came out confident saying that this was basically an isolated targeted incident. So very curious to see how that is defined. Now I know that I asked you guys in the comment section of the community tabs, if you guys had questions, what would you ask? If you were actually at this presser, what kind of questions would you ask? So go ahead and put those again in the comment section here, because I would like to, add those to the stream right now before the press conference starts. Again, if you were there, what questions would you have? What do you want to know? Again, this is a day that Kaylee and Maddie are being celebrated in their hometown. I don't know if that's still going on with all the news or what, but talk about to be able to get this news on a day that you're celebrating their lives. I think that hopefully helps them be able to celebrate Maddie and Kaylee. I think that for me, it would just be all I would be thinking about would be this. So I'm interested to see if it was a public event today, and I hope that everybody's able to be there that wants to be there to celebrate those two girls with their families. Great question there, Mod Squad. How was law enforcement so confident from day one that the community was not at risk from another attack? Absolutely. That's my number one question. Great question. And that's why I said in the beginning of the video that I just made that what was at the crime scene, what was done to the crime scene, what was there, what was left, question. Good question there. What do they believe the motive was? Absolutely. Yeah. Good question here too by Moonfish. How do you connect the suspect to the murders of these students? I don't think they were safe. Maverick says, absolutely. That could be, I just think that really needs to be talked about. So good question there. Does he have any family in the area? History of mental health, anything like that? Good question. You could ask the question, I guess there's rumors, going around that that Brian may have known somebody that lived over in that area. Is that something that you guys can talk about? So good question. Had any of the fraternity boys been to Pullman that night? The stuff that I investigated was there was a Flaming Lips concert that was over in that area. And there's a girl that attended the Flaming Lips concert that put it out on social media. It was the same person, Dakota, that had those weird boogeyman posts and the bedrooms being bloody. So I thought that was over in that area. That would have been the night before. So What's up, chicken head? The new me says, is this being done today just to give families peace until they really find out the truth? I don't know. Good question. How did he miss the other two roommates if they were targeted? Targeted means he knew everything about the house inside. There you go. Great question. Did you find the murder weapon? All right, let's see what we got here. We are at just about 9 minutes out. Good question. When do police believe he left the state of Idaho? Really good question. Great question. Were they on OnlyFans? Good question. Thanks, Octavia. How you doing? Hopefully you're enjoying your vacation with your family. Love you, girl. Thank you there for that. Is he suspected in any other homicides? Good job. Yep. Did he act alone? Is there any connection between him and the stuff that had gone on in Oregon? And there was another one. Okay, here we go. I am loading up the for the press conference here. So if it is silent right now, it'll just switch over, and then all the sound will be there for the press conference. There will be nothing but sound, and I'm playing the press conference through. So Yes, again, guys, there will be silence until the press conference begins. That's just how it is. Um, Again, guys, just a couple minutes out from the press conference. Thank you for the super chat and the new memberships. Really do appreciate you guys. And I will just be playing it through. All the volume will be turned up. Again, thank you guys for being here. All that we just ask is that you remain being very kind to each other in chat. Also, I am working in active missing persons in PA. So there's information about that in the community page or community tab of my channel, Truth and Transparency. You can check that out. We are searching for Sherry, a 6-year-old woman. So thank you there, Emily. Mink says, let's fly. Mink coat, let's fly land at the press conference so she can ask questions. Ask Jay-Z to send a chopper. Thank you, Connie. Appreciate that compliment. Again, can't agree more there, Robin. This is a tragedy, and I hope that the families get the answers that they need, as well as that community to know that they're safe there. This was a targeted attack, and I'm just curious as to how. All right, here we go, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohlberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee. I want to personally thank these agencies for their assistance in this case. Kohlberger resides in Pullman, Washington, and is a graduate student at Washington State University. We'll provide as much information as we can about the extradition to Idaho and the criminal process. However, due to Idaho state law, we are limited in what information we can release today until Kohlberger has his initial appearance in Idaho court. I want to express my appreciation to our local community, the people of Idaho, and those throughout our nation who provided information to help us investigate these murders has been very impressive. We've received over 19,000 tips, and we've conducted over 300 interviews. To recap this case, on the evening of November 12th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at about 1:56 a.m. after visiting a local bar and street food vendor. Ethan and Zana were at the Sigma Chi house before arriving home around 1:45 a.m. The two surviving roommates had also been in the community but returned around 1 a.m. On the morning of November 13th, a 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m., reporting an unconscious person at the residence. The call came from inside the home from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. Moscow police responded and found 2 victims on the 2nd floor and 2 victims on the 3rd floor. On November 17th, autopsies were conducted and the Latah County coroner confirmed the identity of the 4 victims. The cause and manner of death was homicide by stabbing. Some had defensive wounds, and each had been stabbed multiple times. These murders have shaken our community, and no arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process. This was a very complex and extensive case. We developed a clear picture over time, and we stand assured that the work is not done, but be assured the work is not done. This has just started. Since November, we have remained laser focused on pursuing every lead in our pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. I recognize the frustration with the lack of information that's been released. However, providing any details in this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming criminal prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress. We will continue to provide as much information as we can as the process moves forward. Today, I want to specifically thank our dedicated Moscow Police Department detectives, patrol officers, the Idaho State detectives, the Idaho State troopers, and their crime lab technicians and scientists, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for the resources and personnel to conduct this massive investigation. It was the dedication of them and the persistence and the numerous hours that led to an arrest. Fortunately, these highly skilled people worked together as a cohesive team to solve this case. I also want to thank our community and the nation. Over the past 6 weeks, I've been continually reminded of how much our community cares. Locally, public support has been exceptional with kind words, food for investigators, and letters of support. You will never know how much your words of encouragement help us through these trying times. I appreciate each of you and each of your kindness. Agencies and individuals from across the nation have reached out to us to express their support to this department. I'm reminded how our Moscow community, our families, and the nation has been impacted by this daily. Finally, I do want to thank our media partners for the help. You kept this in the news. You helped us with tips. You kept things going, and we truly appreciate that. And you are the product of those 19,000 tips that we received, which is an impressive number. I would like to invite Bill Thompson, the county prosecutor, up at this time.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Bill Thompson. I'm the Latah County prosecutor. And it's sad to be here, but happy to be here at the same time. As Chief Fry indicated, a criminal complaint was filed yesterday here in Latah County, charging the defendant, Mr. Kohlberger, with 4 counts of first-degree murder, in addition to felony burglary, which involves entering the residence with the intent to commit the crime of murder. Mr. Kohlberger, and let me preface, there is a pending case now in court, and I and my office and the investigators have to live with the restrictions that our Supreme Court places on pretrial publicity. That said, I promise you we will share with you through the court process or otherwise whatever we are allowed to. I just appreciate your patience on that. The factual basis for the charges are summarized in what's called a probable cause affidavit that is on file with the court. According to the rules of the Idaho Supreme Court, that is sealed until Mr. Kohlberger is physically back in Latah County and has been served with the Idaho arrest warrant. At that time, we expect that that affidavit will be available to you so you can share the true facts with all of your readers and your watchers and your listeners and all the people who are interested and really need to know what's going on. So please have patience with us on that. We hope to get that to you as soon as we can. As far as Mr. Kohlberger, I can share with you that he is a graduate student, Washington State University, and has an apartment residence over in Pullman. He has had an initial appearance in front of a judge in Pennsylvania. He is being held without bond, and the warrant from our magistrate judge here also provides for no bond. We understand that he's scheduled to be back in court in Pennsylvania next Tuesday afternoon, and that a public defender has been appointed for him there. The process at this point is, since he was arrested in another state, he has the opportunity to either waive extradition and return voluntarily to the state of Idaho, or if he prefers not to waive extradition, then we will initiate extradition proceedings through our governor's office. If we do that, it can take a while for him to get here. So again, I'm asking for your patience and understand that's just the way the system works. Once he gets here, he'll have an initial appearance with our magistrate. They'll deal with issues such as making sure competent counsel is representing him, and the case will be scheduled for further hearings. Your primary source of factual information is going to be the court record, because that's what the Supreme Court says we need to refer you to. So please pay attention to what's going on in court and have people there to watch and hear what's being said. As an attorney, myself and my office, we are limited on what we are allowed by the courts to say outside of the courtroom. So please just work with us. Finally, as the chief indicated, this is not the end of this investigation. In fact, this is a new beginning. Y'all now know the name of the person who has been charged with these offenses. Please get that information out there. Please ask the public, anyone who knows about this individual, to come forward, call the tip line, report anything you know about him to help the investigators and eventually our office and the court system understand fully everything there is to know about not only the individual, but what happened and why. Next, I'll introduce Colonel Ked Wells from the Idaho State Police. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Kedrick Wills. I serve as the director of the Idaho State Police and certainly want to express our appreciation for your attendance here today. These tragic murders took 4 young, vibrant lives from our community. Nothing we do can bring them back. The only thing that we can do in law enforcement to honor their memories that we know of is to bring this to a successful conclusion. This has been a very difficult time for the families, the university, the community, and the state of Idaho. However, it is also proven that communities come together in tough times. Certainly appreciate the support of the local community and our national audience that has been following us as our investigators have worked through this case. I'm thankful also to you, the media partners, who have helped keep this case in the forefront that generates the tips and we hope will continue to generate information that will help us to a conclusion of this proceeding. I'd like to express our appreciation on behalf of the Idaho State Police to Chief Fry, his leadership, and the entire Moscow Police Department for the way that they handled this from the very beginning. He directed the right people to the right positions that led us to this conclusion today. I've had the utmost confidence in this investigation and in Chief Fry, as well as in Mr. Bill Thompson and the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, who've been a great partner throughout this. Nothing has deterred the commitment of the investigators who've worked on this case, regardless of the organization they represent. It's been very trying and very difficult, as you know, that it has been on those investigators as they do the tedious work that they're so good at doing. The partnerships is what's led here as well. The partnerships between Moscow Police Department, I'd like to express our appreciation with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, specifically the special agent in charge out of the Salt Lake City Division, Dennis Rice, and also the work that happened in the last 24 hours in Pennsylvania with the arrest with the Pennsylvania State Police and Colonel Evanchik with the Pennsylvania State Police. We appreciate what they've done across the nation to help us as well. As Bill shared, this investigation is far from over. In fact, I appreciate what he shared, that this is not an ending, but rather a new beginning. The difference now is, as he shared, that we are dictated what information we can share by the court process and by laws in our state of Idaho. And so we will share, as he shared, Mr. Thompson is absolutely committed to share everything he can share through the court process. We've got to make sure that we don't get in front of that process. And we really deeply appreciate everybody's support here. The relationships that were forged here and the partnerships that were forged have led to this. And based on that is why we're here today. And we continue to believe that the best way we can honor these 4 lives that have been taken is to make sure that we have a successful outcome here. One of the partnerships that's been forged throughout this is a partnership with the University of Idaho. And on that, I'd like to introduce the president of the University of Idaho, Mr. Scott Green.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho. Today's news of arrest is a welcome one. It's relief to our university, our community, and our extended Vandal family. The outpouring of support over the past 6 weeks helped sustain us during the most trying time. It provided the strength that helped us navigate the international scrutiny visited on our students and employees. We are truly thankful for the compassion and acts of kindness shown to our community. Kindness is contagious, and it provided the light that reclaimed ground lost to evil and darkness. We first want to acknowledge and thank Governor Little for the early promise of financial support that enabled the university to secure our campus and focus on helping our students and our employees in the wake of the crimes. We also appreciate the Idaho State Police and the highly visible security presence that brought comfort and calm to a community shocked and confused by the senseless crimes. We never lost faith that this case would be solved and are grateful for the hard work of the Moscow Police Department and their law enforcement partners. Vast and committed FBI resources brought important expertise to this complex case. Across the board, dedicated, highly competent personnel worked this case to arrest. This crime has nevertheless left a mark on our university, our community, and our state. While we cannot bring back Maddie, Kaylee, Zaina, and Ethan, we can thoughtfully and purposefully carry their legacy forward in the work that we do. Our students come first, and that was proven each and every day of this investigation. We are committed to safely delivering the college town atmosphere, campus experience, and high-touch quality education for which the University of Idaho is known. With time, we will heal. We will move forward together, and we will remain Vandal strong. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to Chief Fry.
So now we will open the floor to questions. However, I want to remind everyone, as Prosecutor Bill Thompson explained, any factual information regarding the arrest of Kohlberger is currently sealed per Idaho law and will not be released until he has appeared in an Idaho court. Please formulate your questions accordingly. I recognize there are a lot of questions, and I will try to answer as many of them as I can. Is there an evergreen or Argonaut reporter?
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting, Spokane Public Radio. I realize the records are sealed. I guess I'm not too familiar with how it works, but can you tell us what tip, what lead, what piece of evidence really led you all the way from Idaho to the suspect in Pennsylvania?
As I've said in the past, that's part of our investigation, and we won't be releasing that at this time. We will have those answers. We'll have them as soon as we can make those available to you.
Then a quick follow-up and a two-parter. Is our community safe, or is law enforcement still on the search for other suspects who might be involved in this attack?
What I can tell you is we have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes, and I do believe our community is safe, but we still need to be vigilant, right? We still have talked about this in the past. We always need to be aware of our surroundings and make sure that we're aware of what's going on.
Hi, Chief. How soon into the investigation did police and law enforcement begin to spot Mr. Kohlberger as a potential suspect? And a follow-up, how many tips, if you can say, were specifically related to Mr. Kohlberger?
To the tip part, honestly, I can't answer that question, so I'm not even going to speculate on that. On the other part, that's part of our investigation, and it will come out. I'd like the mic to please come right over here.
Thank you. Dana Griffin with NBC News. Can you confirm that Kohlberger asked whether or not anyone else had been arrested when he was in custody?
I cannot confirm that, or I'm not sure of that information, but that would still be a part of our investigation.
Did CODIS initially return any hits on this guy?
That's still part of our investigation. That will come out. If we could get somebody over here, please.
And then one final question. Is there any message to the online sleuths who slandered and harassed people who they believed were responsible?
There was a lot of speculation going on, and we've always said from the very beginning that we're the official message that comes out, and to pay attention to what we're putting out there to the press.
I'm Nancy Liu with News Nation, and we were over at the house this morning, and you told us that the remediation would begin today. It was suddenly stopped. Can you tell us why?
Yes. The house cleanup has been halted, and that came by a legal request from the court.
Christina Corbin, Fox News. Chief, have you identified a motive?
That is part of the investigation, and that will come out as we continue the investigation. But what we still ask is for people to continually send us things in the tip line. We are still looking for more information. We're still trying to build that picture, just like we have stated all along. We're putting all the pieces together, and that will help.
Chief Veronica Miracle with CNN. Any indication that the suspect knew the victims?
That's part of the investigation as well. It won't be something that will come out at this point in time, but as we continue the investigation and as this case goes to trial, that will be brought forth.
Have you spoken to the families? Can you tell us what they've told you today?
Are you talking the victims' families? Yeah, we have reached out to the victim's family as we always do. We've done that daily, and we've continued to have contact with them.
Hey, Nate Sanford, you mentioned earlier that you're still seeking tips about Brian and that people should still share whatever information they have. Can you speak at all about what specifically people should be reaching out for, like if they know something?
I would say anything and everything. As we've said all along, we know what tips we're looking for. We will take those tips and we will have professionals look at those and decide which pieces of those we need to use for our case. So we ask that everybody would do that.
Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. Your department and other investigators on the case took a lot of flack for keeping information close to your chest. Are you glad that you did that? And were you worried about tipping the suspect off?
I will 100% stand behind the way that we handled this investigation. And this all started from day one with our patrol officers arriving on scene, locking down the scene, us calling in the Idaho State Police, us calling in the FBI, and keeping information that was pertinent to this case very, very tight. We want to have a situation where when this goes to trial, there is no doubt that we've done everything right, and we've slowed down, and we've continued to slow down. We'll continue to do that.
Hey, Chief. Have you guys found the murder weapon or the Hyundai Elantra?
So we are still looking for all pieces of evidence, but we are still looking for the weapon. And I will say that we have found an Elantra.
Stephanie Becker with CNN. Can you tell what it was like when you got the phone call when the police told you that they had your suspect?
I can tell you, for a lot of law enforcement, it was a fairly sleepless couple of days with as we were leading up to everything that we were doing. But what I can tell you is I have faith in those agencies across the nation. I have faith in our officers. I have faith in the FBI, and they did a great job. But sure, there was some times, even throughout the day, that we were always concerned.
Hi, Chief. Don back at CBS News. Can you talk a little bit more about the suspect's connection to Pennsylvania?
All I know is that he lives in Pennsylvania.
Chief Guy Tannenbaum from Nonstop Local KHQ in Spokane. More about the Elantra. We saw reports that you mentioned that you recovered an Elantra, but can you specify where that was found? And we know that that was one of the biggest pieces of information you were asking from the public to tip. Were you able to provide an information on whether those tips led to this seizure of an Elantra?
That's still part of the investigation that will come out in the future.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. The additional police presence in town and on campus, semester's coming. Is that going to continue?
You will continue to see state troopers in the area. We're talking to Latah County as well. You will see a presence of us that we're always have up on campus. We have assigned officers to that. So you will continue to see a law enforcement presence. I'm going to take two more questions.
Hi, Chief. Julie Scott, ABC News. Can you tell us if you eventually had a license plate number to the Elantra and how you tracked it to Pullman?
That's still part of the investigation that will come out.
Chief, hi, Matt Lovelace with the Murrow College of Communication. I want to ask about Mr. Koberger as a graduate student at WSU. Are you aware of if he returned to campus after November 13th? And have you had any communication with departments on the WSU campus about his attendance?
So some of that is going to be followed up as we continue our investigation. We'll be asking some of those questions, but that'll come out in the near future. So what I do want to do is I want to thank you all. You really have been the national voice for us. You've given us the opportunity to get many, many tips. And I do appreciate everything you've done, and we'll continue to look forward to working with you in the future on this. So I'd like to thank you for that, and thank you for your time.
All right. All right, guys. Well, that's going to conclude the press conference. Now, they need everything on this guy, everything get your hands on. So I was making some phone calls in between the past two. Oh, God. Let's see. Oh. Okay, sorry, I had lots going on there. Thank you for that last super chat there. They want to know everything, why this happened, what happened, everything that they can about this guy. So in between the live before this and the live right now, I made some phone calls to some neighbors of Mr. Brian, Kohlberger. Kohlberger, I think that's how he says it. I am just literally shocked, but selfishly happy that he's in PA, because my happy ass can beat a PA and like that. Besides the fact of like throwing clothes together, doing all that, whatever, and staying somewhere and all that crap. But I'm familiar with PA. That's where I've been doing the stuff I've been doing. So I made some phone calls and talked to one of his old neighbors. I won't say their names. Married couple. And she was like, "You're the second person to call me." And I was like, "Man, I wasn't the first." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "I don't even know who he is. Yes, we live next to him, I guess, but I don't know anything about him. We don't even live there anymore. We don't even live in PA anymore." I said, "Do you recall seeing a white Elantra?" I'm just trying to spitball whatever I can out. Maybe like, and then you hear dip, 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 click. And I was like, well, why did you even answer the phone, man? But everything about this guy. So if anybody wanted to know why I played what I played in the beginning, it's because everything about this guy. Where he goes, where he went to school, where he went to high school, who he knew, what his psyche was like. We're dealing with a very, very smart individual, but also a very, very sick person. Sick in terms of like, I mean, mm. To take criminology and reverse it, to use it to aid you in trying to quote unquote get away with murder. That's why I call this was like an experiment. This person literally used ex-cons as guinea pigs with their stories, listening to what they would have done differently, acting like it was for some school stupid. It's just lies. He concocted a bunch of things. This gentleman, I can't even call him a gentleman, this dude. They're asking for help because they need it. They need everything that they can on this person. And for anybody out there that says that people like myself or other people that have and do this isn't helping, that's just not true, because they wouldn't say that type of stuff. So I attempted to reach out to other people as well. So far, no answers, but I'm going to continue to do that. But I'm just going to put my boots on and go pound the pavement in PA for a little bit. I got to go there for a couple different reasons. This is the third reason now. So Sherry's missing. So I'm going to be back over there. Sheldon stuff, Davon Cox's stuff, Jane Brown stuff, and now Brian. I'm going to know everything about you. Betcha. So you're supporting, by supporting this channel, what you're supporting is the truth. You're supporting actions, reporting, deep diving, digging, the truth. You're just supporting the truth. And I'll be transparent. Yes, I'm coming there. So I'll be ringing in the new year. I was planning on it anyways, bringing in the new year in PA. Now I just have another reason. I'm just so, I believe in signs, and I believe that for Kaylee and Maddie to get this news and her family to get this news today, that's awesome for them. And now I want them to go and have like the biggest, most amazing celebration of life because those two girls, just like the other two victims, they were full of life. And they were promising, like they were going to do right. You know what I mean? Like, so I hope that they celebrate this. And yeah, it's not over because they want obviously a conviction. But why they want it, I think they know so much more is just, they said that there's only one weapon, that he didn't say weapons plural. He said weapon. We have not found the weapon. Brian knows where that weapon's at. I don't think anybody else does though. Brian's the type of person that he barks out orders. He's in control of situations. This is control. And I'm going to go back and re-listen to some of the stuff that me and Scott Roeder were talking about. Scott's going to come back on, and I'm really looking forward to talking with Scott about a couple more things that we know. And I'm just so happy for these families. You know how there's families out there that it's been a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they haven't even found their loved one, let alone had a chance to have justice. And I think this is going to change a lot of things, you know, college students, as far as security goes, maybe even renting houses, and how landlords do things. But I want to know what the target was in terms of what that definition meant by these officer standards. Prayers for the community. And thanks to all of you guys that have been supportive. So I thought that the prosecutor was amazing, and he laid it all flat out there. You want information, go to the docket. We're going to put out what we can. We're going to unseal the probable cause as soon as we get him here. He was laying everything out step by step by step. Like that's, yeah. So as soon as he gets over there, I mean, I'm sure he's going to probably fight going over there. When I say going over there, coming back to, Idaho, I thought that was a great question that somebody asked, like, when did he leave and has he been back? I thought those were great questions. Again, while during this investigation, there was a Flaming Lips concert. Thank you so much there, Debbie. There was a Flaming Lips concert, and it was in Pullman. It was in Washington there. And I'm just curious because there was people going back and forth, but that was the night before. You know, why those four? How were the other two spared? I mean, like that is, were there others involved? I think they know. I think they know what they're dealing with. They're dealing with somebody that organized how did he get caught? It's going to be in the probable cause as far as where that all came from. It'll be interesting to see how long that takes to get him there. But I'll be there for that court proceeding on that Tuesday, which is today's Friday, so we have the weekend. I'm trying to visit a couple of the inmates, so we'll see what we can find out from now before Tuesday. Everything that we can about Brian. I wonder if his family's going to be there. Are they going to be supporting him? I wonder if any of the victims' families are going to go there and be at that hearing. I don't know. But continue to keep everybody in your prayers, and especially law enforcement. Commend them, the FBI. They were brought in right away. And that tells me the FBI being brought in right away, I think it's because of the border. I mean, you're just so close to that border there, even with Washington. But I think the FBI being on board, immediately was very, very important. So you have to give credit to the Moscow Police Department for that. Idaho State Police, you gotta. I don't think anybody had egos in this, and I think that they were very true to themselves, and they know what they can do and they know what they can't do. So kudos. If you think about it, a lot of people get egos, and you just don't see that with, Fry. He may not be your favorite public speaker, but that's not what his job is. His job is not to be a public speaker. His job is to do what he does. But they brought the FBI in right away. So give them credit for that. I think the biggest thing that sticks out with me with Brian is on his stupid paper that he had when he talked about that he was in that fraternity. What is it called?
Psi Beta.
Psi Beta. Psi Beta. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and rewatch that press conference. I guess I could probably replay it right here, but I'm going to breathe though as well. I got to get on the phone. Sherry, guys, Sherry needs us. Sherry's missing. No one's looking for her. Sherry needs us. All the circumstances around Sherry's disappearance is full of holes, falsehoods, and everything opposite of truth and transparency. So hopefully we're going to be able to shed some light on that. I was on the phone with the tow truck company today. Jay's towing was awesome. They gave me a lot of information and cleared up a lot. Sherry's car was not towed. Somebody drove Sherry's car to their lot, parked it, got out of it, locked it, and then 2 weeks later, the family showed up there. So if you guys are wondering who Sherry is, it's Sherry Kiefer. She's missing in Pittsburgh. So again, like I said, talk about God works in mysterious ways, fate works in mysterious ways. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for multiple things, and to have Brian there makes it so that I could do that, I guess. So yeah, Sherry Kiefer is missing. But yeah. So stay up to date on. I'll be doing a brief live about Sherry to get some information out there. Keep on digging if you can. If you're diggers out there and want to send me information, that's great. Just be, don't be harassing people and bothering people like that. Be respectful. Thank you guys for being here, and prayers to everybody be safe. Go Buckeyes. We have to play Georgia tomorrow night. I'm hoping for a Michigan-Ohio State rematch. So Oh, thank you there, Labrie. Thank you there. Go Eagles. Well, that's in the NFL there, honey. So we'll root for the Eagles for you in the NFL, but we're going to root for the Buckeyes for the national championship weekend here, or well, at least the start of it. Sherry's family is not looking. That's correct. Nobody's had a search yet for Sherry, so Sherry is 60. Mother, wife, friend, neighbor. So thank you there. Is it LeBrier? I just found your channel, Lana, the other day, and I'm blown away by your brilliance and outside the box thinking. My brother is a detective 17 plus years, so I don't say that lightly. Thank you. What is your background? Business and criminal justice. No bullshit is my background. All right, guys. Good job, TNT family. Thank you for being here and supporting, and thank you for helping everything that everybody sent. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Really happy for the families. So Sherry went missing. Oh, the exact date. I'm going to put up a bunch of that stuff about Sherry. I'm going to have that in a different thread. So, but yeah, let's be happy for the families today and the information that they were given. They got some phone calls last night that hopefully make some of this a little, easier. I mean, and then I'll also remember Brian's family did not do this. Okay. So his parents as well got phone calls today. His family got phone calls today, or at least saw the news, and they did not do this. They are not Brian, and they are victims. Just as, they're victims in the situation. Their lives are going to change forever as well. So please be respectful of them, All right, guys. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you, Bella. Thank you, members, all the super chatters. Thank you guys so much. The mods. I wonder which moderator is the smartest moderator out there. So, oh yes, absolutely. The parents of Brian, every aspect of his family, as far as aunt, uncle, sibling, parents, they're victims. They're now victims. Remember I said, I was like, somebody's going to get that phone call one day and be told that their son or daughter was and brutally murdered 4 people. And honestly, I don't know which is worse to get, that your son or daughter did that, or that your son or daughter was a victim of that. Like, as a parent, I throw up at either one of those. Like, I'd blame myself. I would blame myself for the rest of my life. Like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? How did this happen? Did we not love our kid enough? Or like, it's just, I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine what's with the 4 victims' families. I can't imagine his family. So just remember that, okay? All right, guys. Until next time, take care, and we'll talk soon. Go Buckeyes.